All right, Bungalow Buddies, this is Beth. I'm coming to you from the bungalow for Off Topic Thursday. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. And today, I'm talking about anxiety. Yay! But first, some news on last week's Off Topic Thursday, which was intermittent fasting. First of all, I've got to apologize. I had said that I had been fasting since 2018, when indeed I was corrected. It's been 2019, which means my progress was so much better than I kind of assumed or thought or had accepted. So that's amazing. Thank you for that update. Correction for the person who told me, hey, guess what? You're wrong. I love being wrong when it benefits me. So that's number one. Number two on last week's intermittent fasting. I'm so passionate about fasting, and I'm so frustrated that I was so old when I figured out how to control my weight and how to be healthy for my own body. Again, it's not for everybody, it's only for most. I want you to go with your doctor, talk to him about it, her about it. And I don't want you to, I want you to just, there are some conditions where it's possible, but you need to watch some other things. So that's intermittent fasting. So that is going to turn into, drum roll, I'm thinking about Friday fast talk. Friday fast talk, Friday fasting talk. I don't know, but I have so much to say on fasting. Tomorrow I'm thinking about talking about sugar. The evilest substance in the world, sugar. It's awful. It's the worst. I enjoy it. I love it. I still partake, but sugar is I swear it's worse than nicotine. It has to be, because it's quiet and you can't see it and you don't know it, and so sugar, or I'm going to talk about maintaining weight. So yeah, those are two topics, probably sugar, and then maintaining weight is going to be after that. But anyway, so that's the update on last week's off topic Thursday. Let's get into anxiety. More specifically, my anxiety. Yay, it's Beth, coming to you from on the bed in the bungalow. I just love the letter B, I think. I'm trying, backyard, bungalow, basement. What else starts with the letter B? Anyway, so I wanted to start out with anxiety. First we got to talk about the elephant in the room. What I have the most anxiety to right now. Right now, the biggest thing I'm thinking about right now is my newsletter. Yep. Even though it's sent out, and I sent a copy to myself, usually I send a copy to myself and then I read it all day, and then I make a few changes, and then I send it over again. But this time, I took my time, I read through it slowly, sentence by sentence. I gave every sentence its due thought. And I still made a mistake. That's right. I said that I had the weight of a monthly newsletter on my mind, when really it's a weekly newsletter. I had the weight of a weekly newsletter on my mind. See, this is the shit that I worry about. This is the shit that I have anxiety about. No one else cares. I have 20 people subscribed to my newsletter, which I do. I like it. It's kind of cool. And maybe 3-4 of them have read the newsletter, which doesn't even matter. And maybe 2 have caught my air. So yeah, I'm the only person who cares. Yeah, probably. And if they did catch it, they knew what I meant. Like, really, there's no big deal. It really is no big deal. But my anxiety ranks it as a big deal. My anxiety wants me to rank it as a big deal, but I am battling to not. I don't want to rank that a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's one word and no one, I mean, it's such a minute issue. It's so inconsequential. So I am trying to kick that out of my head right now. So that is the elephant in the room. For me. So the thing on my anxiety is that I've been dealing with it since 2006. Quite some time. And probably before then, but I classified it as depression, which is very, very common to switch those back and forth. A lot of the symptoms can look the same, but what's going on up here is what's different. So 2006 is when my divorce from my first husband had started. And obviously that's a very stressful time in any person's life, whether you're getting a divorce for any reason whatsoever. I was in my 20s. And I went to go see the doctor for the first time in a very long time because I wanted antidepressants. I figured I was depressed from my pending divorce. So I remember being in the room and I was pissed when he told me I wasn't depressed. I was livid. I was like, don't tell me what I am. I am depressed. I know I'm depressed. I'm getting a divorce. This has to be depression. No, ma'am. I was told it was anxiety and I was given Ativan. So, and guess what? It worked. I was anxious. It worked for a while. Got me through what I needed to get through. And I guess I had a little bit of both, anxiety and depression, because I remember going on Wellbutrin sometime around then. And then I used Ativan as needed. So I would say that from 2006 to 2006 to 2014. Wow, that's a long time. I had your standard issue, stereotypical, low grade, general anxiety disorder. I think there's another word in there because I thought they called it GERD. Or maybe that's an acid reflux thing. I don't know. Regardless, doesn't matter what the letters are. I had anxiety. I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought it was just something that I had to live with and deal with. And I managed it for a very good long time on my own. Or so I thought. Yeah. Or so I thought. So as I sit here and think about the timeline and what I've been through and experienced, I am brought to the thought that I was put on Wellbutrin as a result of a triggered event that ended up being an escape. I wanted to escape. Didn't necessarily want it to not exist or not live. I just didn't want to be in that moment, I guess. I'm going to put the link to the blog article below that refers to an incident that I'm referring to. It's an old blog from around 2015, and I think it's March 2015, and it goes over just something I had to go through at that time. So moving on, after that incident, I was put on, I believe that is the time I was put on Wellbutrin, which I found out later it can complicate anxiety. I was told later Wellbutrin can complicate anxiety. So the doctor that put me on Ativan for anxiety was in Michigan. And the doctor that had put me on Wellbutrin for that incident was in Cincinnati, Ohio. So this, I'm bringing this up, I guess, to point out how important it is for you to keep an eye on your own medicine and your own medication and doctors and your own story. Because up until this point, I thought I was pretty spot on with how, I don't know why I never made that. I don't know. So yeah, I believe I was put on Wellbutrin now. You're watching this unfold. Now I believe I was put on Wellbutrin, and I should have probably been put on something else. But I hadn't developed a relationship with this doctor. This doctor probably didn't know me, and you hear suicide and you think depression. It is what it is, I guess. But it shouldn't be. We need a better eye at all this anxiety. I mean, not thank goodness, but I mean, I guess maybe it's easier to talk about now that there has been brought to light some very famous athletes have brought mental struggles and mental awareness to light. And I'm blanking on one of the names, so I'm not going to say the other one, but we have a tennis player and a gymnast who have most recently were brave enough to spotlight their chemical flaws, right? Here are the perfect athletes, near perfect athletes. Well, that's what we hold them to. And they're not perfect up here. And they said, hey guys, guess what? I'm not perfect up here. And the fact that they were largely applauded, maybe it makes it a little easier to talk about. Us normal people, right? Us non-celebrities. Yeah, so I guess I'm jumping all around again. And that brings me back to me controlling my anxiety from 2006 to 2014. Don't get me wrong, I had anxiety, but it always seemed to have been triggered by something, right? So life was all good, fun, and okay, unless something rare or unexpected had happened, right? So I could deal with the everyday stuff. I could deal with the appointments and the phone calls and just that going outside and doing stuff for myself and, taking a weekend drive and doing errands when I lived in Indianapolis. So these are the things that were easy to me back then. Let's fast forward, or let's jump ahead. Let's now go on to 2000, and I'm going to say 14, but after I look that up before I get to that story, I'm going to check that out. But yeah, let's fast forward ahead. Let's fast forward. All right, so shit got real, right? Shit got real around 2014, 2015. So 2014, 2015 is where I'm not going to say stupidly, where I accepted a job that I should not have accepted. As a single mom at that time, I was looking for a job that would keep me out of an office. I did not want my daughter to be at Latchkey. There's nothing wrong with Latchkey, but if I could avoid it, I was going to avoid it. At that time, she had been in daycare for a large portion of her days. From 6 weeks, 12 weeks, when I went back to work after maternity. So she had been in and goodness gracious, 9-10 hours, depending on commute time and stuff like that. And it just wasn't fair to her. I was living in Indianapolis. I wasn't, we didn't have any grandparents that lived down there, so I was relying on daycare. Yeah, all right, goodness sakes, I'm like, what am I talking about that for? All right, so around 2014, I took this job, and it was flexible office hours, and that's what grabbed me, flexible office hours. I was like, yes, flexible office hours. And this is where it starts to get bad. It's flexible office hours, but it's a 24/7 business, including weekends and holidays. Never a break. This is the rail industry we're talking about, y'all. So think about it. Rail never sleeps, right? It doesn't sleep. So I was working, I was servicing, my company was servicing the rail company, and it was a 24/7 nonstop. And I care about people, right? This was a job that I should never have had, but the allure of flexible schedule and short office hours, and it was just too, I couldn't pass it up. In fact, I remember talking to a parent about it, and it was 24/7. Yeah, but you know, as soon as I get this, then you know it'll be this. And silly Beth, there was never going to be as soon as. It's just why that position is rarely filled. It's a tough job too. I was on call 24/7. I remember very strongly, and this is probably why this starts to get messed up in here. I remember very strongly when my manager's manager, so the director, called me at 4:00 in the morning, just to yell at me. Now, granted, this was a moment in time where I actually remember saying the words, "I'm scared to fall asleep," because it didn't matter if I fell asleep early or late. I was going to get woken up for some reason or another by a call at work. And I remember trying to talk to people about this I remember trying to fix it. I remember I was doing everything I could to be a good employee, an ethical employee. I was trying to support my subordinates, and I was trying to make management happy. I was trying to, and if I would have known better, I would have never tried, because nothing in that job would ever have been good enough. And I see that now, as I still have connections to that industry, to that company, and the words "we miss you" are not infrequent. So that job, that 24/7, never can sleep a full 5-6 hours, that job is probably what really shook it up in here. Now, I had some issues that I had never fully resolved in therapy, and that kind of compounds it, right? Stuff just adds on in layers and layers. But I believe, and that's the job that I had my first panic attack, that I realized it was a panic attack when I was having the panic attack. So my first panic attack, after, thinking about it, like after the fact, I knew I had panic attacks in January 2009, and then probably February 2009 when I was pregnant with my first daughter. I don't think I knew what they were. I think I pegged it up to morning sickness, but now thinking of what the symptoms were and what I went through, it's panic attack. I mean, I was alone in Indianapolis having a baby. Panic. So, and I had through my first trimester, but they cleared up after that, and I had a very comfortable pregnancy after that. I think, if I remember correctly. So, and then I had some panic attacks after the oldest was born. I had some panic attacks just between August and October of 2009. And then I was good in the hood. Like, after that, after my gallbladder was removed, because I believe the pain from the gallbladder, triggered the anxiety attack. After that, I rarely had them. I knew I had one or two as a result of an injury or a sickness, because I guess I just panic when I get sick. I don't know. And then they went away until I realized I had my first one, and I have it around 2014 or 15. So I don't remember if it was right before the holidays or after the holidays after I started this job. I'm still trying to narrow that down, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that my next anxiety attack, my first one that I realized, wow, this is anxiety. My friend at that time had just left my house. And I don't remember if they had come over, because she was cleaning my house at that time as well. So I don't remember if it was she cleaned and I met her and then she left, or she came over to see me and then she left. But, and I'm still trying to remember if there was a trigger, because we usually, when we get together, we're crying about something. It's just one of those friends that you either cry, no matter what, if you're happy, if you're sad, if you're enjoying life, it's just one of those friends that we always cried together. So I remember that one. I remember that panic attack. And that, I just remember having it. I remember being in the bathroom. I remember having a daughter and like, what do I do? Because if you've ever had a panic attack, it's everything. It's everything from head to toe. It's sweating, it's swallowing, it's heart, it's everything, right? It's consuming, and it's physical, and it scares a child. And I remember scaring my child, and I remember going, what am I doing? And why can't I stop? And it sucked, and I couldn't control it. And I didn't even know how to ask for help. And my daughter was a champ. So we got through it. And then, so that was the beginning of the whole, wow, this is a panic attack. I know I have panic attacks. Was around 2014, 15. I remember my family getting nervous. I remember them wanting to take me to the hospital. In fact, I have a picture. I have a picture that I'm going to splice in here. And I actually had taken a picture of this beautiful... I had taken a picture of what a post-panic attack looks like. And, it was hard to see. So I think that was this picture. This picture was it's hard to look at. It's hard to look at as me. It's like, dang, to me it looks like it'd been in a fight or something. So yeah, we'll take a look at it. And here is me a few days later. The funny thing about that picture, I was at work. The very same thing that causes all my anxiety. So, that's the look of anxiety. I don't like those pictures. I really don't. I like the second one better than the first. The first one, I don't remember why I took it. I really don't. And I think someone even asked me, like, why would you take such a picture? And I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to capture that moment, and I just wanted to see what it physically takes out of me. It took out of me. Maybe I didn't even have a mirror, and I just wanted to see what it looked like. I don't know. So that's then, and I had some anxiety before I met my husband, because I met my husband in 2015, so right at the height. In fact, I ended up going on disability for that job. It was my boyfriend at the time, who is now my husband. We had talks about it, and he remembers a lot more than I thought he remembered. He remembered me getting calls in the middle of the night. He remembers things about that job and why we decided that I needed to get out of that job. And we made the decision together to he moved in quite quickly, and then he couldn't imagine, he couldn't grasp what the job was doing to me. So we made a decision, and I took an unpaid disability leave at that time. Yeah. And I never went back to that job for various reasons that escape me now. And he took care of me for a while, for a long time. He took care of me and my family, me and my older daughter. And then we got pregnant. Yay! Holy crap. That was the worst anxiety I had ever experienced in my life. I thought I had anxiety. It turns out I did not know what I was talking about. I had these little anxiety attacks that were triggered usually by something I could control, be it be it eating less salty foods. I was able to, not drinking wine. I learned really easy that wine was a trigger of my anxiety. But there are things that I could do to avoid triggering my anxiety, and I did them. And then I got pregnant. And that was the end, for a while, of me controlling my anxiety. Yeah. I wasn't able to control my anxiety for 8 anxiety attacks, I should say. Panic attacks, anxiety attacks. They are 2 very different things, but I couldn't control either of them for the 8 months that I knew I was pregnant with our youngest. Wow. Even if you'd asked my husband about that time right now, it was a horrible time. It was the worst time. And it was anxiety every single day, at least 6 days out of the week. It was horrible. It was awful. A lot had suffered during that time. A lot of me, a lot of my friendships and relationships. I lost a lot during that time. I did. But something better was emerging. A new life, a new Beth, a new chapter, a new family of 4. My peak. I was incapacitated my entire pregnancy. Just about my entire pregnancy, I was incapacitated. The only thing that could come remotely close to relieving my attacks was showers. Hot, scary, scalding hot showers. I lost 16 pounds in my first trimester. That led me to the hospital for about a week. People were accusing me of trying to lose weight. It was very frustrating. I remember wanting a tub. I wanted a hot tub. They wouldn't give it to me. And I understand why. I wanted a shower. I had a hard time finding a shower. People didn't know what to do with me. I actually remember one of the nurses saying something, and I liked her. They were all good nurses. Nurses are always, goodness sakes, nurses, right? But I remember her saying, and she meant no harm, because we were joking around. I was just joking with her. But she's like, I've never seen someone with anxiety this bad. And I'm like, you are an old nurse. Thanks for telling me that. Thanks for giving me that boost. But God bless my husband. Now, my husband, my boyfriend, fiance at that time. He held everything together. He did it all. He did it all. I would not have made it through as successfully. My family would not have made it through successfully if it wasn't for him. And poor guy, he didn't know what was going on, you're not prepared to see somebody have an anxiety attack, and you don't know what it is at first. And, for the life of him, he probably wanted to say, just stop, just knock it off. And I think he only lost his cool once. He was amazing. So, now my biggest threat from anxiety, was from work, was the mornings. I have equal amount of anxiety, just waking up and, the anxiety just trying to get to work. I remember sitting frozen on the couch for hours. I wake up at 5, and then, 7 o'clock, I'm still sitting on the couch, just staring off, and, my husband come downstairs, what are you doing? I'm like, oh crap, what time is it? And, he'd be frustrated with me because I'd done nothing since I'd gotten up. And typically that's who are you to tell me what to do or what I'm doing right or wrong? But it's true. What are you doing for 2 hours? And so that's, that's something that it just, what am I doing for 2 hours, And I remember driving to work. Anxiety is very interesting. If you didn't realize it or know, number one, I'm not a doctor or a scientist or anything, but I've heard a lot of stuff. I've read a lot of books, and I absorb material, and eventually it just makes sense to me, and I lose my sources. So I'll have to look up my sources. But adrenaline makes you want to pee. Did you know that? If you have adrenaline, like say you might go on a roller coaster, go skydiving, bungee jumping, it makes you pee. So I've read a lot of books from veterans, and there's a few of them that talk about when they, go into battle. It's the urge to pee is just stronger than anybody can imagine, and a lot of soldiers don't even try to hold it. So that's another subject. But I remember there's this one turn going to work, and it didn't matter if I had emptied my bladder before I left to go to work. Every single time I turned that corner, it was the last corner before we went to the driveway. Adrenaline. And if you didn't know this, anxiety can be contributed to a misfire of adrenaline. So that's something I learned while trying to research how messed up my brain is. So yeah, it can be a misfiring of adrenaline. There's a lot of things we don't know about anxiety, but the things that we're starting to figure out or starting to correlate or make sense of, if those we can know about and we can expect them and learn about them, then there's stuff that we can do to live through them. So, and towards the end of when I was working, where I was working, it was terrible. I couldn't. It was the stress of going to work. We're going to get into that on another topic, or on another Thursday, maybe. But that's my anxiety. That's my biggest things, my biggest struggles with anxiety right now, anxiety attacks. Okay, let's talk about attacks, like physical anxiety attacks. Because here is always, I'm always going through scenarios and thinking and rethinking and overthinking and overanalyzing and being mindful. I'm always in here. It's annoying. Trust me. But the physical aspect of my anxiety right now, it seems to be only when I eat. When I enjoy a full meal, a big meal. And at that, it's starting to ease up. And I have a log, I have a journal, as to, what triggers it. What did I eat? What triggered it? Even, I'll write down the diet. I'll just record it. I'm starting to work on it, right? We'll always have things to work on. So I honestly, guys, I don't even know what I've covered. I don't know what I've missed. We can go over anxiety again. If you have any questions about my anxiety, or if you have any, I've been dealing with this for a very long time. And the only thing that I've used and will stay away from for the rest of my life is Xanax. Xanax was the only substance that I will never touch again. Well, is the only thing I'm scared of, guys. I'm scared of Xanax. Xanax, I was addicted to Xanax, and luckily I pulled myself off of it. I was up to 8 milligrams a day, and they're 1 milligram pills usually. That's what mine were. But that was back in 2008, I think. 7. Honestly, guys, I'd have to look through. But there was a time where I was just using Xanax. And that's just not good for anybody. So yeah, that's that. I've run out of places to tell my story. I've run out of story. Actually, no, I haven't run out of story. I have a lot more story. But I'm grasping this anxiety thing. I'm getting a hold of it. I'm learning about it. I'm talking to it. I've read so many books. I've done so many journals, workbooks. I've tried so many methods. I've worked on it for as long as I can remember. And I've helped other people I didn't even realize I've helped other people identify that they have anxiety. You know, it's like, hey, you know, someone would say something, and whether I've put it that way or not, you know, I was in a group and they were like, hey, you know, someone had said, you know, I feel this way. I feel like everything is equally important, equally as dangerous. You know, returning the neighbor's casserole dish to this lump I found. These are completely fabricated examples, but it's a serious issue, right? It's like, obviously the physical issue takes substantial amount of concern than the casserole dish. But when you have anxiety and you can tell yourself, this is stupid, this casserole dish is ridiculous. And I do have a casserole dish actually that I have to return to somebody. And I did have a scare with a lump in the summer, but everything's cleared up. That's actually kind of funny. Anyway, see how the mind works? I drew these comparisons where I'm like, I didn't even know where they came from, and I drew the information out of whatever's in here, and I went with it, and I guess it ended up working. So, yeah, I'm gonna cut this because we're probably at 40 minutes, and I'm in my sister even has to take me in doses. So thank you for watching to the end, guys, and buddies. And thank you for watching. Thank you for liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I got another subscriber. Thank you, Chrissy. I appreciate that very much. And I'll be seeing you tomorrow with Fast Talk Friday. Is it Fast Talk Friday or is it Friday Fast Talk? Maybe it's Friday Fast Talk. Yeah. I'll see you tomorrow with Friday Fast Talk.